Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, Dylan, Mel, John, Pauline. Boys, it's September baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Summer's over. The dog days are done. It's time. We got all of our teams are in it right now. Even Ben's not here. The Mets are still in the race.
Yep.
But it's crunch time. This is when they talk about the stretch, we're here. It's not future anymore. It is present. You have a few division races that still are pretty close. Wild card, seeding. You have a little less than a month left of the year. A lot of big stretches for teams. We'll talk about the Yankees' current stretch in a little bit. Mets, Phillies. The Mets need to claw their way back in. But I kind of want to take a look first at how the playoff picture looks as of today and see what we can envision changing in the upcoming, 4 weeks left of the year.
Yep.
So let's start off on the National League side. From 1 to 6, you have the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Dodgers as your division leaders. The Dodgers as the 3 seed would be right now playing the Mets as the 6. Winner of that would play the Phillies, who are the 2. Playing the number 1 seed Brewers would be the 4 seed Cubs and 5 seeded Padres. What do we envision shaking up on that side of the bracket?
I mean, we have a couple division races that I believe have some games left. I know that the Phillies and Mets have a series coming up this upcoming week. The Brewers, I think that they have a big enough lead on the Cubs and they don't face them. So I'd be hard pressed to say that the Cubs are going to make a comeback in that division. So never say never. And then the Dodgers and Padres, it's the closest race of them all. And they don't face each other again this season. So I could see a potential swing in Padres in the Dodgers, but I personally think that the divisions are going to stay the way that they are, and I don't think the playoff picture is going to shake. I think we're going to see some ups and downs and some things get closer, but I think what it is right now, 1 through 6, is what it's going to stay. Maybe we see a shift in Padres Cubs, who's a home field for that series.
I mean, I'm here looking at division harmony, but it's not out of the question though for the Phillies to just completely drop the series against the Mets here.
I gotta be on a podcast with the 2 most pessimistic fans of their teams ever.
I just feel I think they lost 9 straight games at Citi Field, right? I think, and it's just it just seems like the Mets have their number this year, so it's it's hard to be optimistic here about it too. So I mean,
it's not like the Phillies have a Cy Young candidate and at least 2 MVP candidates on their team.
Nope.
It's just a bad time down there.
With the Mets, the Mets are doing they're not doing. I guess the Phillies are up 6 games ahead of them now, but it's
I'll tell you what. I would be very much looking forward to a Phillies-Dodgers divisional round series. If the bracket holds warm to what it is in the NL, I do think that both of those teams would move on. I mean, if the Mets upset the Dodgers, I'd be looking forward to Mets-Phillies as the Mets as the 6 seed as well. So, but that side of the bracket, way more. What
would be a better NLDS? If you had to choose one, Dodgers, Phillies, or Mets, Phillies, what would bring more juice nationally?
Dodgers, Phillies.
Easy.
Yeah.
Which would be the better series, though, in your opinion?
We've seen Phillies Mets recently, and we see it all throughout the year. We haven't gotten that Phillies Dodgers playoff series that we've been begging to get for years now. So I would pick that as a more neutral fan. But I do understand why, as an NL East fan, John may rather see the Mets.
Would be nice to see the Mets just because it's so they can get kind of revenge from last season. They get there, knock them out and stuff, and just really beat up on them in the playoffs. But I also would like to see the Dodgers too, just because I feel like that's been kind of hyped up over the last few years and it just never happened. Either Dodgers getting knocked out or the Phillies more getting knocked out. So it just never seems to line up well.
Yeah.
Now, what about on the flip side? You have Padres, Cubs, winner faces the Brewers.
Man, I think that side of the bracket, in my estimation, shapes up for the Padres to get to an NLCS. I mean, the Brewers are playing some really great baseball, and I don't mean to discredit them, but I would lean the Padres to come out of that side of the bracket. I think we'd have some really fun games and some really exciting series. And it would be kind of a more underrated side of the bracket. Obviously, one side with Philly, LA, and New York, whilst the other side is Milwaukee, San Diego, and Chicago, which isn't a small market by any means. But I would take San Diego to come out of there. But I think we could see some really fun, high-scoring games on that side of the bracket.
I mean, honestly, I think the start of the season, I mean, a lot of us thought the Cubs were going to be the team in the NL Central there coming up through there, and thought the Brewers were going to take like a step back this season.
I mean, after
So,
that
like-
first series of the year versus the Yankees, people thought the Brewers were going to be like the Rockies.
Yeah, so like for them to have like the number one seed in like the National League is almost crazy when you look at the start of the season and how everyone thought it was going to be going in there. I mean, I feel like out of the three teams, the Padres are probably the best team out of the three there. Probably, and probably they'll have probably the most chance to come out there and win that side there. But I mean, very easily, I feel like it could very easily well be the Brewers or the Cubs.
Now, flipping over to the American League side, you have the number 2 seeded Blue Jays currently taking on the winner of Seattle, the 6, and Houston, the 3. So you have a divisional matchup right there as of today. What do we think? Do we think the Blue Jays Astros is the better matchup or Blue Jays Mariners?
I mean, I think Blue Jays Mariners is more competitive because I think that the Astros are a tier above both of those teams. So, in form of your question, Blue Jays Mariners is the better series.
That's exactly why I phrased it the way I did. Because that's what we want. We want to see the better series.
Yeah, we want the Astros out of the playoffs. I mean, the better series. We want to see the better series.
We just want what's best for baseball.
Right.
And good baseball series are the best.
And what's best for baseball is the Yankees in the World Series against a surging out of nowhere Cincinnati Reds team.
Yes, but we both know that would terrify me. I would just be thinking about how Hunter Green is just going to mow us down.
Yeah.
Ellie De La Cruz is going to have like the World Series record for inside the park home runs or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, Seattle versus Toronto would be the best outcome for baseball. But the Astros are the best team of the bunch, so take that however you want.
Now, do we see anything shaking up? Could Seattle overtake Houston? Could
I think that AL West is all up for grabs. I know this upcoming weekend, the Astros and Rangers have a set against each other, and that could really muddy the waters depending on what Seattle does this week as well. We're going to talk about them in a second, but the AL East, obviously, it's Toronto and then both New York and Boston 2.5 games back, and the Yankees have series with both of those teams over the next 2 weeks. So by no means is the AL playoff bracket set at all.
Now, flipping over to the other part of that AL side, you have the 4-seeded Yankees hosting the 5-seeded Red Sox. Winner goes on to Detroit, the 1 seed. The Yankees have had no success versus the Red Sox this year. Could that change in October?
Could it? Yeah. Do I want to face them? No. Listen, we'll see how the series goes in 2 weeks' time, but the Yankees have not shown an ability to compete with Boston this year at a high level. I wouldn't pick them in a playoff series against Boston as things stand today. Maybe the Yankees get hot and they sweep Boston in this upcoming series, and that could be something that could instill some life into me picking the Yankees to win that series. But ultimately, I think Boston would take that series as things currently stand.
Now, which is a better series versus Detroit? Yankees or Red Sox?
Pass.
I
Yankees
feel
Red
like-
Sox is the better series.
I was gonna say the same thing. I feel like Yankees Red Sox is the one that everyone's gonna want to watch, and then
I
after
mean,
that, it's probably like a push.
Yeah, listen, for
who you
me,
wanna
like
see.
for me, obviously Yankees Detroit's the better series, and then you have the Glaber revenge factor for any Tigers fans out there. But ultimately, I think that those are the same level series. I would pick New York or Boston to beat Detroit, whichever one of them faced them.
Now, just moving off past this, bracket, the Brewers have the best record of Major League Baseball, 85-54. They're pretty comfortably winning their division. We do have 3 divisions within a less comfortable amount of games against each other. The Dodgers are 2.5 up on San Diego. The Dodgers do have the tiebreaker over the Padres. How do we feel about San Diego's chances of overtaking the Dodgers?
Pretty good, actually. I mean, like 2.5 games. I mean, it's not like 2.5 games is not a lot lead, and I feel like the Dodgers haven't been very dominant the second half of the season here. So
I am checking here on Tankathon, looking at both teams' strength of schedule remaining. The Padres have the easiest schedule remaining in baseball per Tankathon, with their toughest series being a 3-game set versus Milwaukee and the Mets, but then they also have the Reds, 7 left against the Rockies, 3 against the White Sox, 2 against the Orioles, 3 against the Diamondbacks. But the Dodgers are 27th. They have a 3-game set versus the Phillies, the Mariners, 7 left versus the Giants, and then 3-game set still to go versus Rockies, Pirates, Orioles, and Diamondback. Man, 7 games versus the Rockies left on the schedule and 3 versus the White Sox. I do like the Padres' shot. I do.
It's just that tiebreaker leaning the Dodgers' way gives me more pause than I think both of you when it comes to that.
Yeah,
because they have to play a game better than the games back shows. And that's still really tough because anybody can beat anybody. And, the Rockies aren't a slouch in that sense where they could just decide to sweep the Padres out of nowhere. And it's not like we haven't seen them, beat the Dodgers in a series pretty easily.
yeah.
Like the Rockies aren't a punching bag of their division. They're just a punching bag for the rest of the league.
No, and that's fair. I also think the series against the White Sox and Orioles is helpful. The Diamondbacks won't be, as committed as they have been. I like the Padres shot, truthfully, as where things currently stand. It'd be tough press for me to bet against the Dodgers, but of your question, do I like the Padres odds? I do.
So now going to the AL West, Houston leads Seattle by 3 games. Right now they're slated to play each other in the wild card round. Could we see Seattle overtake Houston? Or is Houston just that far superior where you don't really care what the game's difference is? They're just going to end up winning the division.
So Houston has the 13th hardest remaining schedule, Seattle 25th. So that's obviously a big plus in the advantage of Seattle. But even at that, I'm going to stand and say that Houston's just too good.
Experience means something.
Yeah, experience in this late stretch in September. The fact that I do think that even while it could be a tough schedule, Houston is still, to me, the best team in the AL. So while it's a tough schedule, they're a tougher team than Seattle. So to me, this kind of evens out, and I'll lean on Houston, who already has a 3-game advantage.
it's hard to disagree with Dylan on that. I mean, because
I was spitting facts.
I mean, it's hard to because I think when we read the thing, I had the Astros going to the World Series, so it's just it's hard for me to go back and say they're gonna, lose their division to the Mariners.
And then lastly, for the division series, at least, or the division races, I should say, AL East, Toronto's 2.5 up on the Yankees. Now, I'm pretty sure I've put myself as the Yankees pessimist in a way, especially last year during the playoffs where I was always betting against the Yankees.
Yeah.
But I've also put myself in position as the Blue Jays hater, where I have no faith in the Blue Jays. So this is really like
Well, you could pick Boston. They're also 2.5 back.
they are, but I wasn't going to do that to myself. You know, this is an immovable force, and I'm going to go the Yankees beating the Blue Jays for the division. I think based on the way that the Yankees have the easiest schedule in baseball left.
Yeah, I mean, it's not according to Tankathon, but Toronto is the 8th hardest, Boston has the 9th hardest, and the Yankees have the 21st hardest.
So I think I'm going to take that over, being on the harder half of the schedule where 2.5 games, the Yankees have made up a lot of ground playing some really bad teams. And ultimately, that's what they have to finish up their schedule. They have a hard 2-week stretch where you're playing Houston, Detroit, Boston, Toronto. So as long as you don't dig yourself in too big of a hole, finishing up against the Orioles, the Twins, the White Sox, put themselves in a position that they can just eke out a division win.
The Yankees have what could be considered the toughest 2 weeks upcoming, followed by the easiest 2 weeks that any team in baseball will have all year after that. So if they could hit 500 over these next 2 weeks, I think that they for sure will win the division.
Now, with that said, would you rather the harder stretch come before the easier stretch or the easier stretch after the harder stretch?
No, I'd rather it the way that it's set up. A nice test early in September to see where you measure up, and then 2 weeks to, if you get punched in the mouth, re-find yourself, re-lock in, and re-get focused. And again, baseball's a sport of runs and a sport of who's hot at the right time, and getting to face off against the White Sox, the Orioles, and the Twins to get hot going into a postseason run is exactly where I'd want to be.
I 100% agree. Now, John, if I throw in the Red Sox into that equation, does that change anything for you?
I feel like the Red Sox very well could win it too. I mean, because you look at Yankees 2.5 games, Red Sox 2.5 games out. I mean, I don't have that much faith in the Blue Jays either. I mean, it's just because you look at it. I mean, even though Boston might have a tougher stretch of games, like they might be the better team at this point in the season right now so far. So I mean, good team. Even though it's tougher, they can if they win those series, and they very well can, because they're good enough to do it. So it's like I want to take Boston because I think I was high on them at the start of the season. Still like them now. So
yeah, I think me and John both had Boston going to the World Series to open
I think
the year.
we did.
So I still love Boston's odds to go to the World Series, but I do think that at this point in time, it's going to be from a wild card spot.
Now, looking back at what we had back in March 18th is when we recorded our AL East predictions. And John, you had Boston coming in second
Did
in
I?
the division. So you went Yankees, Boston,
okay.
Baltimore, Toronto, Tampa Bay. Dylan,
And I had them winning the World Series.
Boston winning the division, Dylan.
Yeah.
Followed by the Yankees and the Blue Jays.
Sniped.
And
Sniped.
Ben had the Yankees winning the division, followed by Boston, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and then Toronto in last place. And I also had Boston winning the division.
And then I had Boston winning the World Series, I think. Or not winning the World Series, or at least in the World Series.
Let's see if
I think I had the Dodgers, Red Sox.
You may have, for the World Series predictions, John, you had Dodgers over Boston.
Yeah, okay.
Dylan, you had Dodgers over Boston. Ben had the Mets over Baltimore. And I had the Dodgers over Kansas City.
That's still in play, though, too, the Kansas City, because I think they're only 2.5 out of the wild card.
Well, let's go on to that, because in the wild card for the third American League wild card, Seattle has it right now. They're 1.5 games up on the Rangers and 2.5 up on Kansas City. Could we see either one of those teams realistically knock out Seattle?
I mean, when
or
it's
is there a
that
world
close.
where Houston misses the playoffs because
No, I'm out on that. I don't
there's only
need to hear
four and
the
a
rest.
half games between Houston being in the playoffs and being out of the playoffs.
This is Corey's fantasy having Houston win the playoffs. This is
I'm out on that take. Kansas City, I do think could potentially get in over Seattle, or I think that's possible. But I'm out on Houston missing the playoffs.
Just to correct you, John, I think the Yankees need to beat Houston in a playoff series if they're ever going to win a World Series. So I kind of need Houston in the playoffs.
So, but like, what if they don't make it and the Yankees go? Like, if they win the World Series without beating Houston, is that just that a lesser World Series win?
They're not going to win the World Series. They have to beat Houston. We saw that last year where they didn't beat Houston and then didn't win the World Series.
Also, the formula is to beat Houston, and then
you
they're
need
going
to
to win
beat
the World
Houston
Series.
on your way to the World Series.
I got you.
You need to erase the ghosts. Exercise those demons. But between Kansas City and Texas, there's a 1-game difference. Which of those two teams is more likely to make the wild card than the other?
The Texas Rangers, and I'm not just saying this because I bet on them to win their division in the preseason, and that still has life. I'm saying it because I believe that the Rangers do still have the bats to get healthy at the right time and get going. They've gotten going a little bit in recent stretches. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're on a 6-game win streak. They still have that plus 94 run differential, which is really, really solid at this point in time. They have everything but the record of a good baseball team at this point in time, to be honest, when it comes to stats. Now, the thing that kills them is they do have the 4th hardest remaining schedule, so it'll be an uphill battle to get there. They have 6 against the Astros, 3 against the Brewers, 3 against the Mets, 3 against the Guardians. Like it is a road for, it's a gauntlet, but I don't believe in the Kansas City Royals worth a lick. So give me the Rangers in that spot.
What do you think, John?
I'll go against what Dylan's saying. I'm going to say I believe in the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr.
I was gonna ask you if one player is gonna lead the Royals, who's it gonna be?
Bobby Witt Jr. is going to do it. He's going to have an incredible stretch.
Dylan, if one player is gonna lead the Rangers, who's it gonna be?
Seager, guy who already led him once before.
I like it. Now going to the NL side of things, the Mets, they're 4 up on the surging Cincinnati Reds, a team that I really liked, who I thought was going to possibly win the division or at least make the wild card. 4 games is still very achievable.
I'm not going to say I would love if the Mets just completely imploded here and lost that last wild card spot to the Reds.
How realistic is that happening, though?
It's not. It's not happening. The Mets are a better team than the Cincinnati Reds. Juan Soto, we're going to talk about him a little bit later. Spoiler alert. He is playing like his contract, at least over the last week. He's getting hot at the right time. This team just completed a 3-game sweep of the Philadelphia Phillies. The New York Mets are playing excellent baseball right now, and they are a clearly more talented roster than the Reds. Mind you, the Reds also have the 2nd toughest schedule in terms of remaining games. 3 games versus the Brewers, 4 versus the Cubs, 2 versus the Blue Jays, 3 versus the Padres, and a 3-game set versus those same New York Mets.
I do also want to throw out there that the San Francisco Giants are 5 back. Now we're getting to the point where 5 games is a lot to cover, but, there's still a chance for them.
Pack them up. Cancun on 3, baby. 1, 2, 3.
All right, so now let's talk about what awards and possible milestones are coming up. We do have the Judge versus Raleigh AL MVP race. That's something that we're going to have to talk about a lot. Last week seemed like Raleigh might run away with it. Now it seems like it's a lot closer.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely closer. It all comes down to what you value. And I'm going to drive Corey up a wall when I bring this up here. And there's probably going to be a tangent to go along with it, because this MVP race is Ryan Braun versus Buster Posey.
Who's who?
You know who's who.
No.
One of the guys is a catcher, having a historic catcher season. and the other one is a way better player,
having a
having a
all-time
better season.
having an all-time season.
Yep, but one of the guys is a catcher.
I think we're past that.
You think we're past that, but if Cal Raleigh was a first baseman, this wouldn't be a conversation. I will say that. If Cal Raleigh was a first baseman, this award race wouldn't be a conversation. Aaron Judge is nearly batting a full 100 points better than Cal Raleigh. That is astronomical. It's 50 homers to 43 and 107 RBIs to 97. Those are pretty close. Aaron Judge has a 7.4 WAR at this point in time. I got to pull up Cal Raleigh's here. 1 second. He has a 5.6, a 932 OPS for Raleigh, a 1.117 for Judge.
That's a huge difference in OPS.
Everything about this race, other than the fact that Cal Raleigh is a catcher with 50-plus home runs, screams Aaron Judge is your MVP. Do I think he will win the award? I don't know.
This also brings me back to Judge's rookie year, that 2017 race versus Altuve, where Judge was leading in virtually every category but batting average, and Altuve got the nod. So it would be pretty funny and fitting if Judge finally wins a batting title with over 40 home runs and just doesn't win the MVP.
Yeah,
home runs.
If I was going to play the other side of the coin and be somebody that is making the case for Cal Raleigh for MVP, what I would say is, if Cal Raleigh can't win the award this year, when can somebody beat Aaron Judge for the award? Now, well, my response would be, hey, like Jose Ramirez could easily have a 350 year where he has 40-plus homers and 40 stolen bases and beat Judge for the award. So, like, it could happen. But I would also say historical significance deserves some version of recognition, and seeing what is the greatest hitting season from a catcher ever in terms of power statistics, not win an MVP award, that would be my case if I was a Cal Raleigh defender. Again, as an Aaron Judge defender, I'll say, well, too bad he's in the same era as one of the greatest baseball players to ever live. Sorry, keep it moving.
Judge had to go against Ohtani multiple times. So you had Trout, where it was, Trout's just going to win the MVP. Somebody's going to have to be better than Trout. That's just how it happens now, where you have Judge on one side, Ohtani on the other, thankfully, where the MVP is theirs to lose until they lose it. And Judge hasn't done anything to lose it. And that's why it's, tough to think of Raleigh as an MVP, because the difference between them as hitters, as players even, where Judge has more WAR, and WAR is weighted. Raleigh gets that benefit already being a catcher. So if you're looking at the WAR difference, with it being negative weighted for a right fielder versus positively weighted for a catcher, it still shows that Judge is a much better player. I think that was almost 2 points of WAR difference.
Just about. It was 1.8, I believe.
That's a massive difference. And then OPS, Judge 1.1 dotting, where Raleigh's under 1. The difference between Judge and Raleigh is the difference between Raleigh and somebody in the 700s of OPS.
Yeah. I think that might be Anthony Volpe.
So it's just one of those things where it's a race, but it's starting to feel similar.
Looking at other teams real quick, Teoscar Hernandez is a .732 OPS for reference as to what the difference between Judge and Raleigh is in OPS. Think about it between Judge and Teoscar. Or not Judge, excuse me, Raleigh and Teoscar.
So you have to think that the writers are smart enough to realize that. And then on the flip side, going to the National League side of things, Ohtani versus Schwarber versus Trey Turner for MVP. Yeah, I've removed Pete Crow Armstrong from this. He's been pretty bad. I don't think he's really got a shot anymore. So between those three guys, why is Ohtani the favorite? Why is it not Schwarber?
I got to be honest. I don't know. Schwarber is my favorite to win the award. That's who I would vote for if I had a vote. Ohtani, some of the things that separate him just aren't there this year. He has pitched, not well. So, I mean, do we just give him the benefit for going out on the mound at this point in time? We talked about this at an extent, I believe, a month ago, where it's like, just because you pitch, okay, but you got to be good for it to matter. Schwarber could go out on the mound every fifth day and get booted out of there, like no problem if that's what it takes. The stolen base numbers aren't there for Ohtani, just 17 this year. Like, that's not a separator, especially in today's day and age of baseball. For Schwarber, he obviously is leading in home runs right now. He had that fantastic 4 home run game the other day. He's ahead of Ohtani greatly in RBIs. Ohtani just at 85, Schwarber at 119. It's pretty close for WAR. Schwarber at 4.3, Ohtani at 5.4. Ohtani's OPS is 986 and Schwarber's 943. So we're pretty close there. 245 batting average for Schwarber, and we're at a 276 for Ohtani. So listen, if your vote is for Ohtani, I do understand it, and maybe it's a little bit of voter fatigue for me, but when given an opportunity where somebody's neck and neck with Ohtani and their team is better and they do play the same position, I will lean Schwarber in this instance.
I just feel like how you don't pick Schwarber. I mean, because like you can talk about like
especially if you go off of valuable, because the Dodgers have an all-star team, which is fine, but Schwarber is more valuable to the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, it's also the fact, I mean, look at Ohtani. Like, I think the only thing is like his average is down this year. Like, he bats well over 300, usually around 300. It's 270. I mean, RBI, he hasn't even broken 100 RBIs. You have Schwarber with over 100 RBIs, batting around 250 and stuff. And it's like, when you look at it, like, sure, average matters, but I mean, like Schwarber has the RBIs, has the home runs. I mean, like we said, like the stuff like Ohtani still doesn't have the stolen bases like he did like the previous years. I just don't know how you don't go with Schwarber. I mean, I don't know why he would not be the favorite.
Now, what about Trey Turner? How do you feel about his ability to win the MVP?
I feel like it's just so hard when you're going up against Schwarber with that, because it's just really hard to go up against. Because
there
I feel
are
like home
a couple of
runs
stats.
Weighted.
There's a lot of stats in Turner's favor, though. Turner, obviously, 301 batting average. That's way better. He does have a higher WAR right now at a 5 flat. Lower OPS. 36 stolen bases isn't nothing. But I do think the home runs and RBIs are just too much in Schwarber's favor.
I think if Turner had like closer like home run wise or RBI wise, like it would probably be Turner.
I mean, Trey Turner has half the RBIs as Schwarber. It's not even like obviously the pop isn't going to be there the same, but we're talking half RBIs.
Yeah, but I mean, if that was closer, like I feel like you would go Trey Turner because he would tick off all the boxes. Then if he had the RBIs, the home runs, the average, stolen bases, the WAR and stuff. But just I feel like not having the home runs and RBIs is just too big of a gap.
And also narratively, like it's Kyle Schwarber. Like that's like when you think of Phillies this year, you're thinking Schwarber.
Well, I mean, in the All-Star game too.
Yeah,
like you think like it's Schwarber's.
Schwarber has the moments this year. The walk off in the Derby at the end of that All-Star game, the 4 home run game that we just talked about. Like the Phillies are riding the momentum of Kyle Schwarber, and hell of a year to have this kind of year, because back up that Brinks truck.
They got to pay the man. Now, how about Skubal versus Crochet for the AL Cy Young?
Oh,
I feel like we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and I think Dylan and I both said Skubal, and we're pretty firm on him.
I do still lean Skubal, but I do want to give Crochet his fair look here in terms of just talking about the numbers. Skubal's 12-4, Crochet's 14-5. I know win-loss record for some reason is a forgotten stat when it comes to starting pitchers, but I still think it matters. Skubal with the 2.18 ERA, 216 strikeouts. Crochet 2.4 ERA, 214 strikeouts, and then the WHIP for Skubal 0.87, the WHIP for Crochet 1.06. So by whichever one of the main metrics you look at, Skubal is having the better year, and he's 12-4. Crochet does have more wins, but he's 14-5. So, I would pretty firmly vote for Tariq Skubal here, but Crochet had a hell of a season.
Now, Judge is looking to win the batting title, like we said before. That would be pretty cool for him to have. It would be just very surprising that he doesn't lead the league in home runs, which is what he tends to do. Judge is hitting 324. He's 18 points up on Bo Bichette. Do we think Judge can pull off his first career batting title?
Yeah, I'm seeing on ESPN Jacob Wilson at 318.
He's
so
not a qualified hitter.
Will he become one?
I don't believe so. I think he was hurt for too long.
Okay. Then I would say that Judge will likely hold on to this. I would believe so. As long as he stays healthy over the next
Let me
month.
just double check that about Jacob Wilson.
I'm seeing 103 games played. I don't know if you know the number off the top of your head that they have to play. Or if it's an at-bats thing, because he has 406 at-bats currently.
Let's see.
This is
just Googling it. Google AI says he's a qualified hitter because he's got exceptional contact skills.
All right.
So according to Google AI, he's qualified.
Yeah. It looks like you need 3.1 plate appearances for every team game played, which amounts to a total of 502 plate appearances. Right now, looking at Jacob Wilson, he has 406 at-bats, so he would have to get up to 502 over the next month if they play 30 games, and if he were to take 3 at-bat, it would, I mean, he's probably not going to be there unless they have some long games. On the quick math, he's probably going to get to about 85, 90 plate appearances, and he needs to get about 100. So,
right.
Maybe.
The odds of him getting there are not high, and that's assuming he doesn't have any off days.
But like you're also assuming like that I mean, I don't know, like if he's their leadoff hitter, I'd imagine more often than not that he'll eventually squeak in some 4 at-bat games. It's going to be close for Wilson to qualify, but again, he's at 318 and Judge is at 324, so that's a lot closer. And with the less at-bats that he has, you know, each hit is worth more for him than it is for a Bo Bichette at this point.
This is also, you know,
worth more. So,
a lot more.
So we'll see.
High stakes poker.
I would bet on Judge at this point, but based on the quick podcasting math we just pulled off there, I'm not counting out Jacob Wilson.
Now Cal Raleigh's at 50 home runs. Can he hit 60? And he's also on pace to break the record for switch hitters at 54 home runs set by Mickey Mantle. How do we feel about him doing that?
I think 54 is way more likely than 60. Again, they have, you know, they have not a tough schedule. Dodgers, Astros, Royals, Rockies, Braves, Angels, Cardinals, Rays. Those are the teams that they face. Obviously, he's a switch hitter, so it's kind of hard to think about just like what ballparks he'll be at in terms of that sense because of the dimensions change depending on who he's facing and what day, etc. I don't think 60. I think close. I think maybe 57, 58.
I mean, what? It's like 10 home runs in a month?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, I mean, I feel like that's not out of the realm of possibilities.
They have 24. They have 24 games left, so that'd be, you know, what are we doing there? That'd be 1 every 2.5 games.
Yeah,
which he just hasn't been doing recently.
Yeah, so
but I feel like you have a
doesn't get there.
But you get like a multi-homer game somewhere in there, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
which I think he's capable of. I mean,
he definitely can do it. Now, who's got a better chance to hit 60 at the rate they're playing right now, Schwarber or Raleigh?
Schwarber's at 49. I would say Schwarber.
Probably. I
think so too.
Thing is, though, I think
the hotter bat.
He has been, but he was in a little bit. I think he was like 0 for 20 or something recently, though, too, or something like that. Like this past, like not this past week, but I think he was having some. He was cold for a little bit.
I will bet on Schwarber over Cal Raleigh any day of the week when I'm getting them at basically an even spot.
But yeah, Schwarber has been, I think, the hotter bat like overall this season. So it's hard not to say him. But
Yep.
he has cooled off a little bit.
Now, this is more just some fun stats that we could see happen before the end of the year. Mike Trout's at 398 home runs. Could we see Trout get his number 400?
Oh yeah, like that.
Salvador Perez is at 296, looking for 300. He's also at 993 RBIs, looking for 1,000.
Oof. It's tough.
Like the RBIs, probably more likely than the home runs, maybe.
It's tough. That's tough for me.
What do you think?
I mean, I want to be an optimist and say that he gets the RBIs. I'm struggling to see the home runs, but I'll go opposite of John just so we have something on each side.
And then Giancarlo Stanton's at 446 home runs.
Yeah, I think he'll probably get to 500 by the end of the year too. No, Stanton is swinging a mean bat, and he's virtually playing every day now because of Judge DHing. So I think Stanton to get 4 home runs in the month of September. Yeah, that feels likely.
And that puts us in a, depending on how he ends the year, that puts us in a very interesting conversation about next year, or really in the next year and a half, about when and if he can get to 500.
Yeah, and if he gets to 500, we'll have the conversation then. But to me, Hall of Fame lock.
Let's go on.
To me, should be.
Should be at 500.
Yep.
So now let's go on to our studs and duds. My stud of the week, A's pitcher Luis Morales. He went 2-0 with a 1.42 ERA. 2 games started, only gave up 2 earned runs in 12.2 innings, 3 walks, 15 strikeouts, most in the majors among that week. And hitters were only hitting 156 against him. Really good from a team who needs to have some joy here and there from a standout pitcher. My dud, Orioles left fielder, sorry, John, Colton Cowser.
I almost picked him, if it makes it.
I mean,
I decided not to.
22 at-bats. He's got 1 hit in 22 at-bats. Struck out 13 times. He's hitting 045 with a .178 OPS.
Orioles.
Go O's, right? O stands for Ofer. What about you guys? Who are your studs and duds?
My stud this week is Juan Soto of the New York Mets. This week, talk about living up to your contract. Batting .400 with 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases.
Didn't he have a grand slam too?
Where the hell has this guy been all year? If you're a Mets fan, this is the MVP caliber player, plus the stolen bases. I don't think anybody thought Soto was going to be pushing 30 stolen bases this year, even the most optimistic Mets fans. Soto's been absolutely a baller. My dud, Carlos Correa, batting .083, 8 strikeouts, 2 of 24 at the plate, but a series with the Yankees, so I'm sure he'll be getting right so soon.
My stud this week, Chicago Cubs left fielder Ian Happ, 11 for 25, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, batting .440. Maybe he's gonna help lead the Cubs there to maybe take the Brewers over. Maybe he's just gonna have a thing. Who knows? But my dud, Boston Red Sox third baseman Alex Bregman, 2 for 27, 4 strikeouts, batting .074. And I think Rafael Devers had like a really good week too.
Devers did have a very, very good week.
Yeah, I think so. That probably stings a little bit there.
It definitely must. But talking to my friend who's a Red Sox fan, he's pretty happy. He was actually texting me today about how he wants to extend Bregman. And extend him, and he's willing to give him 4 or 5 years.
Additional
$35 million a year.
Jeez.
Bregman is loved in Boston.
Yeah, well, after the attitude that Devers had versus the production that Bregman's given you, can't blame them.
No, let's do a little team talk. The Mets, since Ben's not here, we'll start with them. They're 5-3 since the last episode. They went 3-0. They swept the Phils. 2-2 versus the Marlins. 1-0 versus Detroit. They're 74-64 overall. 6 games back of the Phillies, even after sweeping them. They're 6-4 in their last 10, so the Mets have been coming on a little bit. They are 5 games back of the Cubs for the first wild card, 2 games back of San Diego for the second wild card, and as we said earlier, they're up 4 over Cincinnati.
Yeah, and they're currently up 12-2 at the end of the 8th against Detroit in Game 2 of the series, which I'm assuming they're going to hold on and win. And by the time that everybody sees this, that game will have happened. So I just wanted to make some note of it. The Mets are on a roll like Cottonelle right now, man. Like, this is some great baseball from the New York Mets. And I know we're going to talk about it in a little bit, and it's probably better of a transition. But the series that they have coming up, the 4-game set at the bank versus the Phillies. That is the most important 4-game stretch of either of those two teams' regular season, and that is the Mets' opportunity. That is the Mets' chance to, at the end of the year, pull the rug out from the Phillies and all of a sudden be hosting a playoff series.
I mean, the Mets have really been riding on the backs here of like the rookie pitchers coming up. I mean, like Nolan McLean has been absolutely lights out for him. I know on the one Phillies on the broadcast, John Kruk was saying like he looked as good as Paul Skeens. Like he's like, I mean, he has a point. He's like ERA under 1 right now, 3 wins, 21 strikeouts. I mean, like they're really relying heavily on these rookie pitchers that are coming up, and like they are performing how they needed to perform for the Mets.
McLean, Sproat, and Jonathan.
Yeah, and it's just they're doing what they need to do.
They're going to somehow again have this string of random pitchers going into a playoff run that, like last year, like nobody thought Manaea, Severino, and Quintana were going to be like leading the way for an NLCS run. And all of a sudden, here are the Mets again with just a thrown together band of pitchers, end of season, getting going with a lineup that when it's at its best can go bat for bat with anyone.
I mean, it's looking good. I mean, if you're a Mets fan, I mean, you have to be happy with how it's going. I mean, Juan Soto heating up, your rookie pitchers are coming up, they're performing.
It's everything you would have wanted out of the season happening right now.
But is it happening too late to really?
I don't think it's too late.
It's the right time.
You want the division, and is it too late to win the division?
If that 4-game set coming up says otherwise, if they do what they did in the 3-game set and pull out the brooms,
John better start getting ready. Let's talk about those Phils, though. 4-4 since the last episode. Swept by the Mets. 3-1 versus Atlanta. 1-0 at the time versus Milwaukee. 80-58 overall. 1 more win and they secure a 500 season. 2 more wins and they secure a winning season. Last 10, they're 6-4. They're up 6 on the Mets. They're 1.5 up on the Dodgers for the 2nd seed. And they're 4.5 games back of Milwaukee for that 1 seed. John, how do you feel their chances are getting that 1 seed?
I mean, they beat the Brewers the first game of the series there. I mean, it was a tough win. Really, I mean, back and forth. I mean, Walker gave up, I think, 5 earned runs, and then there were some errors there with Stop, but came back, had really good defensive plays and got there. I mean, if they can sweep the Brewers here or at least squeak out a series win here, it's in the realm of possibilities that they can take that 1st seed. But they really, really, really need to like at least get a series win here minimum against the Brewers if they want to do that. If they don't, I don't think they're going to get it. But I mean, it's
maintain a lead over the Dodgers or the Padres, whoever wins that division for that 2nd seed.
I think they'll maintain the lead over them. I think they're playing good enough with everything now. And they've also, I think they're probably not going to make an impact. They also made 2, I don't know if you saw, they signed Tim Meza, relief pitcher, and they got Walker Buehler, which they've been good, but it's like any arms are good arms at this point.
I mean, is that really true though? Is any
arms good arms? You need arms. I mean, sometimes you just want to have arms and stuff.
Craig
And
Kimbrell was an arm.
true, but I mean, he did good for the most of the season. He was okay. He just fell apart in that in the Diamondbacks game there, 2 games in a row there, and cost the Phillies I think the series win there, and they blamed on everyone else but him. From what I've seen, I barely see anyone blame Kimbrell for that loss. But I think you're good. But you got arms. I mean, Walker Buehler could turn around. I mean, it doesn't hurt signing them. It doesn't hurt having arms and stuff, especially
They're
with
just
Wheeler
innings
being hurt.
eaters for the end of the season.
Yeah, you just need guys in there just in case. You just need
Alvarado's going to get his arm absolutely
Yeah.
thrown out in the month of September eating innings because he can't pitch.
Then you have Romano on the IL,
oh no,
which might be.
addition by subtraction.
I know a lot of
classic
people
math
wanted him.
problem.
I think a lot of people wanted him DFA'd. Honestly,
The Phils, I still believe in this team, and truthfully, I'll be rooting for them out of the NL and probably post AL wild card. I'll be rooting for them because somehow the Yankees will disappoint me and be in the wild card and lose to Boston, and then by the division series, I'll be cheering on the Phils. The lineup, again, at its best, can still go bat for bat with anybody. I hate the Zach Wheeler injury. I really wish going into some massive playoff series, you had your ace for 2 guaranteed games there, followed up by Christopher Sanchez. It was, you could make the case the best 1-2 pitching combo that any team would have going into the playoffs. Sanchez has to step up. Luzardo has to step up. Playoff Ranger has to step up. And probably Aaron Nola. We'll see. I love having Duran there. Bader was obviously massive in the win versus the Brewers yesterday as of recording, 2 days ago as of people watching. But we'll see. I am nervous about the trends right now for the Mets and the Phillies if I'm a Phillies fan. That 4-game set needs to be a statement for the Phillies.
Now, what do you think is the most likely outcome for the Phillies? Win the division, get the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, or fall and get the wild card after the Mets take over the division?
I think most likely is stand pat, win the division, and be the 2 seed. The Brewers still have won a lot of baseball games, and they don't look like a team that's going to fall off of a cliff the way that they're swinging the bats. They have the 15th hardest schedule remaining, so right in the middle there. I'd expect them to hold on to that 1 seed.
Now going on to the Yankees. The Yankees are 6-1 since the last episode.
Yeah,
3-0
against the cupcake squads.
Yes, the 3-0 versus Washington, 3-1 versus the White Sox. They are 76-61 overall. 7-3 in their last 10. 2.5 games back at Toronto for that division. They're tied with Boston for that first wild card. The Yankees do have the slight edge with winning percentage. Boston has 1 more win, but 1 more loss as well. And they are 3.5 up on Seattle for that third wild card. The Yankees were playing well, lost 3 out of 4 to Boston, and have been playing well again. But those teams that they're beating are really bad teams. So the stretch that we were talking about earlier,
it's here.
It's here. Houston, Detroit.
Up right now in that game, 2-0 as we're recording. Obviously, that's not by any means in the dirt, but 2-0 in the 4th inning.
But Houston, Detroit, Toronto, Boston, those 4 series, those 2 weeks are going to make or break the Yankee season.
The Yankees could jump all the way from wild card to the 1 seed in the next 2 weeks, or they could fall all the way to, holy crap, we better dominate in the last 2 weeks if we want to be a playoff team. These two, this is the season. That should be the attitude in that locker room, because that's my attitude. These next 2 weeks are the season.
What does Boone always say?
I don't know. Which quote are you about to pull out here?
It's right in front of us?
Yeah, well, it's literally right in front of us. It's here. It's not down the road anymore. It's here.
It's literally right in front of us.
Yeah.
Now, I know Boone always gets clowned when he says that, but a broken clock is right twice a day. And he's right. It is right in front of us. Like, you go 500, you put yourself in a really good position. You take 2 out of 3 in every series or win each series of those 4. That 1 seed is right there with an easy stretch. Parlay that into a hot October, you don't know what's going to happen. But it all starts now with this series in Houston. And, at some point, Aaron Judge is going to have to come back and play the field.
Yeah, listen, good teams win games, great teams win series.
Yeah.
Let's go win some series. Like, we've been talking about it for weeks now, and, we're approaching the hour mark, so I don't want to go on another 15-minute tangent at this point in time. But the New York Yankees, their destiny is in their hand. And not every team has that luxury in September. But your biggest adversaries, your biggest competitors, you have the opportunity to go beat and get past them. Do it.
Do it. Now, if you had to predict how this was going to go, this stretch.
Oh, okay. So if I had to predict it, 1-2 versus Houston, 2-1 versus Toronto, 2-1 versus Detroit, and I'll say 2-1 versus Boston. I didn't do the math on that. 9-3.
That would mean I would sign up for that.
Was that? Well, no. I don't think I did that. 7-5.
I honestly still think I'd probably sign up for that.
7-5. 7-5, 8-4 is beautiful. Anything above that is exceptional.
And honestly, was it 6-6 is acceptable?
Yeah, 6-6 acceptable.
You really don't want to go below 500 this stretch.
No.
And you don't get embarrassed either. That's another thing. Like, even you don't want to have one game where you get blown out and you look uncompetitive. Make each game be either blow them out or make it competitive.
And not that they can't listen. The Yankees could, in this 12-game stretch, go 4-8 and still make the playoffs. That's not off the board. But for yourself to believe that you could beat these teams that have been kicking your ass all year, go get some wins against these guys. That way, going into October baseball, when you're inevitably facing 1 or 2 or even 3 of these teams, if you go on a run, you feel like you could beat them.
I just hope that they start playing with more urgency. I want Judge back in right field, But
that's got to come whenever he's good to go.
Yes, I don't want to hurt the long term.
And we don't need to play him in there in Houston because Stanton could easily play that left field.
Right. Play him when you need him. It does still scare me, kind of like Garrett Cole's elbow last year led to the Tommy John this year. I don't want us to be prolonging the inevitable.
No, but you need Judge for this run.
You need Judge. Now, let's talk about our weekly series highlights. For me, it is that Yankees-Blue Jays series upcoming. That will be for the division. If the Yankees can win that series, if they can sweep Toronto, I never thought the Yankees would ever touch first place again once they fell out and had that poor stretch. Now the Blue Jays have kind of fallen off a little bit. The Yankees beating bad teams, but if the Blue Jays can be beaten by the Yankees, then, maybe something special could happen where they win the division, get a top 2 seed in the American League, and then go from there.
They could still be the 1 seed in the AL. The AL is a very competitive race. And I see John making eyes at it. And listen, man, I'm not saying that I'm betting it to happen, but they have this set right here versus the Astros. They have a set versus Detroit. The Mets are whooping on Detroit right now. Detroit's not winning games as we currently speak. It's possible. But, and especially when you factor in the Yankees' last 2 weeks, where it's, 10, 11, 12 cupcake games, whereas these other teams got to play real comp. The Yankees, the one thing I'll give them credit for this year, they have beaten the crap out of the bad teams.
Which is what you want them to do. Yeah.
So the 1 seed's in play. I think the 2 seed and the division title is the most likely outcome. But, to have Aaron Judge miss the time he did in the 1 seed be in play is nice. My weekly series highlight is the Rangers and Astros. The Astros will be coming off of this series with the Yankees, so we'll see where things are fully at that point in that time for them. It's at Texas, but they're both in Texas, so I'm not sure what the home road split is there. But for the Rangers, this is their shot to close the gap. They're 4.5 back right now. We'll see if they keep pace over this 3-game set to open up. But let's say they go 2-1 and Houston goes 1-2 versus New York, and all of a sudden you're 3.5 back and you got a 3-game set. Like, you can close that gap real quick. And Seattle should be keeping an eye on that series. That series could determine a lot in the AL West.
My weekly highlight is going to be the Mets at the Phillies. I mean, I feel like we talked about it a lot already on the podcast here, but I mean, this can be like the make or break it thing here for the NL East title right here. I mean, Phillies are up six games on the Mets right now, but I mean, if they drop this series against the Mets again, or even worse, get swept, I mean, that can be the division right there. Like, because the Mets very well easily can just, you win a 4-game series against them, you get really close there. I mean, very well can just take it right from under the Phillies right there. So this is a really, really, really important series. Like, honestly, I think the NL East comes down to this series.
Yeah, and it's a 4-game set, like you mentioned.
So,
that's
huge.
At least it's in Philly and not in New York.
Yeah, you always feel more comfortable.
But I think that's a big point you made earlier in the pod. The Mets haven't been winning at Citi Field. So getting home field for a potential playoff matchup is massive.
Yep. Huge.
Now, how do you think that series goes if you're giving me your gut feeling about it?
Gut feeling? I want to say I'm inclined to say they win 3 out of 4.
They meaning the Phillies?
Yeah, Phillies.
You think they
2-2
split?
But I can see 2-2 split too. But I really hope they don't get swept. Because if they get swept, that's it.
A sweep on either side.
I can't believe
it's a
this.
lot of things in a lot of different perspectives.
Well, I mean, if the Phillies sweep the Mets there, I mean, you might be looking up like a wild card shakeup too, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, that could put the Reds in the wild card and the Mets out of the playoffs.
This is a huge series.
I can't believe as I talked, the Tigers scored 3 runs so far in the 9th inning. It's 12-5 now.
Uh-oh.
As I said, that game's over. Apologies, Mets fans.
12-5 is still comfortable.
Yeah, bottom of 9th, 2 outs, runners on 1st and 3rd for Detroit.
Another bloop and a 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 blast.
And before you know it, the Tigers win.
Yeah, that's what it would take. So I doubt it, but doubted it before.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Corey, Jason, Dylan, Mel, John, Pauline. Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. We'll be back next week. Playoff baseball is here. Getting ready to break down these big stretches. We'll see you then.